What's up guys, Aaditya here and I'm back with another lesson, but this time it is more about what you should do for the prelims examination, that is the last minute tips for the prelims examination that is going to be conducted on 18th of April. But first of all, I would like to thank the whole team at Unacademy for providing me with this opportunity to connect with millions of fellow aspirants as well as other persons who just want to gain knowledge or want to know about things. And I think Unacademy is one of the greatest platforms that has been provided to us. So I would request you to go to the Play Store, download the Unacademy Educator app, and become an educator yourself. Share your knowledge with millions of people. Now, yesterday the results of 2016 were announced, and I was able to secure 309th rank for last year. And to all the other fellow aspirants who have cleared the examination, a very big congratulations to you and to your families. I know it has been a very tough walk as well as a competition. And for those who could not clear, I can understand how hard it can be because we all have put in great efforts and have taken great pains to see ourselves become civil servants. But I think, and I have been through this phase, and one of the factors that kept me motivating and going was one of the quote by Mr. Les Brown, which said that no matter how hard it is, no matter how hard it gets, I'm gonna do it anyhow. So I think this should be your mantra during the preparation as well as for any endeavors that you take in your life. That things will be difficult. There will be times when you will feel let down, that you have put in all your efforts, but still you were not able to get what you wanted. And I have been through this phase quite a few times in my life. So I think that civil services teaches us that we need to be patient, we need to keep our heads down and keep moving forward. Someone rightly said that even when you fall, you should fall on your back so that you can look up, stand up, and keep moving forward. Now, coming to what you should do as an aspirant in the next 17 days so as to maximize your score in the prelims examination is what I'm going to do now in the next 10 to 12 minutes that I have with you. First of all, prelims these days is a mix of both current as well as static. People might say that last year's prelims examination was most of the part of the questions were actually current oriented. But I think that we should not move with the tide because UPSC is very unpredictable. So you should not be lax in the static portions particularly, because if you are lax and if others have prepared well, you're going to lose your edge over there. So I think I'm going to talk about both the aspects, the current aspect as well as the aspects with respect to the static portion in the next 17 days. And we have to be practical, right? I'm also going to give and appear for this examination. And so you all are my competitors. So I think we should be practical and try to maximize our score in the next 17 odd days that we have with us in our hands. Now, first and the most important thing that I personally feel can help you maximize your score is tests. No matter how hard you have prepared, no matter how many books you have read, no matter how many times you have revised one book, if you are not doing tests regularly, I think you are in a big problem. So starting today, just now, if you have not done tests, switch off this video, take out 2-3 tests and start doing it. And take the tests very seriously. Have a printout of the OMR, try to fill the OMR and try to do the tests in 1.5 hours. I'm not taking 2 hours. Take just 1 hour 30 minutes and try to complete all the questions. Try to analyze whether you can take risks in certain type of questions or not. I have done this for the last 3 years, 3 years, 9 months to be precise. And I think this is the most important point that I learned particularly for prelims examination is that you should know where you can take risks. Everybody has a different niche of taking risks or what kind of questions he is comfortable in attempting. But I think you can only find out this if you have attempted a lot of questions. And I want you to take those tests very seriously, like a real examination situation. You should stimulate the conditions like that, switch off the fan and take test once. Because you never know what kind of government office or government school or building will that be. Last year, I remember in my prelims examination, the benches were rigged. There was water on the floor. So it was a very bad situation of the institute. but I had prepared myself mentally and physically for that kind of a situation. So I think that you should be prepared for any kind of circumstances that might arise on 18th day. Now, coming to the portions that you must prepare, I would start with polity, not because it is my favorite subject, but because I think it is the easiest to score and to maximize your score. Every year, only from the static portion, if you take the static portion that is given in Lakshmikant or you read from Constitution, whatever is your source or reference, I think 8 to 10 questions will definitely be asked. This is the minimum I'm going. I'm not even including the questions which might arise because of the current affairs, be it the GST Council, be it Niti Aayog, be it other kinds of regulatory bodies, so on and so forth. I'm just taking the static portion with respect to constitutional provisions, president, prime minister, so on and so forth. So I think 8 to 10 questions will be asked. You have single source, and I think this should be the source or the portion of the examination that should help you maximize your score. So for 8 to 10 questions, I would say go and read Lakshmikant once again, once for all, and just relax. Just don't, because I know doubts will arise that you will not be able to remember this thing or that thing. You don't have to remember each and every word of books of polity for say. You just have to eliminate the option. You just have to know, okay, this is not the correct answer. Only this can be one of the options. So you have to apply elimination technique, and that you can do even with 60 to 70% of the preparation. You don't always need 100% preparation to get to the correct answer in prelims examination. Second, for the current affairs thing, I would say any reference material that is available in the market with respect to the changes that are happening in the governance structures, what are the new bodies that are coming up, so on and so forth, shall be prepared. Some recent bodies include the tax policy research unit, etc. So these are some new bodies, and UPSC tends to move you towards these bodies just to see whether you are aware of the current happenings or not. So read about GST Council. Don't just read that GST Council, you had finance minister heading the GST Council. Try to read about the appointment procedure, whether it is given in the Constitution or not. If it is given, what are the provisions that are given in the Constitution? Try to read more about 121st Constitutional Amendment Act, because they try to take or extract questions from these kinds of body. Try to read about Finance Commission. Although 14th Finance Commission was 2 years back, but I think that if you read about Finance Commission, there is a tendency to ask questions after a delay of 2 or 3 years. So I think that is one thing that you should always keep in mind. Another important point that is across the domains, be it history, geography, economics, etc., is that it is better to know 1 or 2 things about 100 different topics than to know 10 to 12 things about just 50 odd topics. You have to have a wider scope for prelims examination. It is not about mains. They are not checking your depth. What they are checking is how wide you know, how widely read you are. So I think even if you read about 10 to 15 points just about any topic, that would be sufficient to eliminate and come to the correct answer. This might not work 100% of times, but it works mostly. So you can have this kind of an approach in the next 17 days. Then solving papers we have already taken. Now another important point is that there are a lot of videos that are available, and they are a very good resource. But I think at the last moment in the last 17 days, one thing that you should not do is watching videos that are very good but have a span of say 20 minutes, 30 minutes or 50 minutes or more. Be it of economy, be it of polity, be it of any other subject. So don't move towards those videos, because our mind has a tendency of moving towards those videos thinking that we are learning something. But at this movement, you do not require that, right? So you can do it after 18, but not before 18. So stop going and seeing those videos which are very long. But some Unacademy videos are very helpful because they are just 8 to 10 minute videos. So you can easily watch those videos and get maximum out of that topic. And many current affairs are being covered. So I'm a regular watcher of many of the series that is being covered on Unacademy, and I think you should follow it for the videos which are of approximately 8 to 10 minutes, not more than that. Next thing that I would like to discuss is with respect to geography. Now, for geography, there are many sources, but at this moment, when there are just 17 days left for your examination, I think 1 or 2 books, that is Go Chi Leong, that everybody has read. GC Leong is one thing that you should refer to. and 11th and 12th NCRT. I'm not asking you to read whole NCRTs from 6th to 12th if you have not read it, because 17 days is not enough to read it. But what you can do is you can maximize the score by reading 12th and 11th NCRTs, and do just one thing. Take the content box of 11th and 12th NCRT, jot down the chapter's name, and just do Wikipedia of all those things. So there is one chapter which says Resources of India. So you know that the chapter, and you just skim through the topic, you can understand that it is about metallic resources, non-metallic resources, coal, iron, etc., etc., and all these things. So you can just Wikipedia and know the name of the states. It is nothing to go to NCRT and then read the same thing again and again, right? So try to be intelligent at this moment, because we don't have time. So just Wikipedia the names, okay? And for some, like the physical geography NCRT, you have to go through once. Particularly read chapters about cyclones, anticyclones, tropical cyclones, temperate cyclones, etc. Because UPSC has a tendency of asking, questions repeatedly on these things. And the next important thing that I think is with respect to a part of geography that is related to rote memorization, or they have a tendency of asking questions like tributaries of various rivers, national parks, so on and so forth. So with respect to tributaries of rivers, I think the best thing is just start doing 2 rivers. I'm saying just 2 rivers each day. Do not start mugging up the whole river system today. Just do 2 rivers. Just take Ganga and Yamuna, write down all the tributaries left and right of Ganga and Yamuna. Just try to memorize, try to make a mnemonic. I think mnemonics is the best thing that you can do for this part of the syllabus. For learning the tributaries. If you can make a mnemonic, make short forms, whatever you can do, just take 2 rivers, and I'll bet that before the examination you would have revised this at least 3 times, because you have hardly 8 to 10 rivers. So you will take 5 days, and you have still 15 and more days to go. So you can revise it easily. So I think this is the best technique with respect to this. Don't be foolish and start remembering names of animals who are endangered, vulnerable, so on and so forth in red data book, because you cannot do it, right? So it is not possible if you have not gone through the whole news items regarding that particular animal, because your mind needs to have a background story so as to remember a particular point of view or particular object. And if you don't have, you cannot remember. So don't waste your time in maximizing these scores with respect to these animals, endangered species, so on and so forth. I think if you can know about 5 or 6, well and good. Let's focus on the rest 99 questions, not get bogged down by just one question that might or might not come because of this exam, because of this part of the syllabus. Now the third portion is with respect to national parks. Now they have a tendency of asking national parks, and don't even try to remember wildlife sanctuaries, right? It's not humanly possible, and if they expect, then it's wrong. I think national parks, but they can be done. And for national parks, I think you should have a state-wise approach. Start doing it, and 2 states at a time. Don't go and start, rote memorizing or learning the names of all the national parks of all the states of India. Just take 2 states. Take Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Start plotting those, and have a map. Have a physical map like we used to do in 8th or 8th, 9th standards, right? Have a physical map. Start plotting those national parks on the map. This helps your mind to locate a particular object or information or a source of information. It is going to be very beneficial. You cannot rote memorize a list of national parks, but you can definitely learn or try to remember the national parks once they are marked on the maps. So I think you should have physical maps readily available. Get 10 to 15 or maybe 40, 50 maps, and just take 2 states every day, and start making national parks. Right, and when you do this national park thing, just read the Wikipedia page of national park. I think it is going to be more or less sufficient for all the things, for the type of questions that they had asked earlier, because of the national park in Manipur, of the Phumdins or the floating national park, as they said. So this is all given in just the 2-3 paragraphs of Wikipedia. So whenever you prepare a national park, take the Wikipedia page, read 2-3 paragraphs. I'm not going asking you to go into the flora, fauna details, so on and so forth. Nothing doing. This is not the time to do that. So just read the 5-4 paragraphs, and I think that should be enough for you, just to eliminate and come to the right answer. Now, because in the last year when I was attempting, I clearly find out that if I know the state, I can very clearly find out that this kind of forest is not available in this kind of state. I know. So this national park, which is from that particular state, can never be the answer. This is how I come to the correct answer by eliminating the wrong options. The third point is with respect to environment and ecology. I think it is not the time to read bulky material, be it of Shankar IAS or any other coaching institutes that is readily available. But one thing that you can do is there is a tendency to ask a question with respect to conventions, be it the climate change, the Framework Convention, Paris Climate Deal, so on and so forth, or the Montreal, Kigali, etc. So what you can do it with respect to this current affairs part, I think have a list of all the conventions, be it of sites, be it of endangered species, be it of migratory species, be it of UNCLOS, that is also important. You can relate it to international relations or other topics as well. But relate to all the conventions and read the Wikipedia page. I think that is going to be sufficient, more than sufficient even. Even if you can remember 1/10 of the things that I'm telling you right now, I think you can very easily clear the prelims examination. You should never come into self-doubt at this stage. That is the biggest threat that you have. It is not the syllabus, it is not the burden, it is not your family pressure. It is this fear of failing in the examination that is your biggest enemy right now. And I think you can, overcome this enemy by reading minimum things and be assured that maximum will come from these only, right? So from environment and ecology part, I would say just Wikipedia the pages of conventions. If you have time and if you like, write down 2-3 points or 10 points maximum for each convention and then forget about it. The same thing should be done with respect to some bodies, be it IUCN, be it BirdLife International, be it Water Institute, be it Global Climate Fund, be it Global Environment Facility, so on and so forth. Everybody knows that question will come from only these, but we don't prepare it in a systematic manner and hence we are not able to recall. So I think for environment and ecology part, the most important thing is that you have to systematize your work because there is a whole lot of things to study and we don't have the time. So just systematize the things, have a content page, write down the topics, do the Wikipedia and just forget about it. And just keep, and if you have made 10 points for each convention, then just revise those points and go to the thing. Now with respect to current affairs, I think that is very important with respect to this environment and ecology part. And don't, start, as I already told you, don't go into that details of birds and animals endangered, so on and so forth. That's not possible. So let's leave it at this point. Now, with respect to conventions, just one more thing. There is one or two videos by Dr. Roman Seni on the internet with respect to these conventions. And he has very crisply, I mean, in a very concise points, he has given all the major important details of those things. Just see these videos 2-3 times and then go to the Wikipedia page and read. So that's going to be very beneficial for you if you're going to talk about the environment part. With respect to ecology part, those who say we don't know the definitions about niche, what is environment, how is ecosystem different from environment, so on and so forth. I think the most important source is 5 chapters of 12th biology NCERT. Just go through those chapters. They are very easy chapters. They are just like the chapters that we had in our 8th to 10th standard. Just go through those chapters and you can easily tackle, if 3 questions or 4 questions are asked, you can easily tackle 2 or 3 questions. So if you have a score of maybe 70% or above in ecology, that's more than sufficient. Now, with respect to history, I think I would only focus on modern Indian history because in 17 days, that is only possible. So if you have Spectrum, are you reading NCERT, or if you are following Bipin Chandra, whatever book you have, or if you have your personal notes, I think it is only those things that should be revised. But don't start, diversifying your sources. Don't read another book. If you have read Spectrum, just stick to it. And, revise that Spectrum 2 times rather than going into and starting because, at times we have tendency, we see a question in one of the tests and it is from Bipin Chandra. We start reading the whole Bipin Chandra again. That's not going to help you. The question was there to add to your information that you already had from the book Spectrum. So just stick to your book, be it Spectrum, be it NCERT, whatever you are reading for modern Indian history. And with respect to, and one more thing for respect to history is, try to do tests, maybe 3 or 4 tests, which are specifically for history. There are many tests that are available on the market, which are specifically covering the portions of modern Indian history. I'm not even talking about medieval and ancient portion because I don't think 17 days, the input that we put and the output that we get, that's not worth it. So I'm not talking about ancient or any other thing. If you have read it, well and good. If you haven't, don't worry about it. Let's focus on the rest 95 questions. That should be your strategy. To ace and get maximum out of the rest of the questions, not try to focus on those portions that you have not read till now. Right? So this is one important thing with respect to this. Another strategy that I learned last year was, try to have a timeline of this modern Indian history thing, and do the Wikipedia page. Read the Wikipedia of all the important events. Just write civil disobedience movement and read the Wikipedia page. Not even the full Wikipedia page. Read 2, 3, or 10 paragraphs, because at times they ask peculiar questions with respect to these events, and that is very easily covered in Wikipedia pages. So you can go through that also. Now, with respect to another important portion, that is science and technology, and I think some people may have some doubts about science and technology, but I think this is not the time. This is absolutely not the time to revise your NCERT books from 6th to 12th. This is not the time. For 12th specific, I already told you that for ecology portion, read 5 chapters of biology book, and that should be sufficient. But with respect to other things, I don't think it is the time, and you should not, even take this adventurous thing of trying to read the whole NCERTs of science and technology, etc. But what you can do is, if you jot down the broader topics that UPSC has a tendency to ask, some important areas can be with respect to defense. So they usually ask a question on missile technology. They usually ask a question on submarines. It can be Scorpion submarine. It can be other submarines, etc. It can be about space missions. That is one important area that needs to be covered. And don't just do the space missions of India, because we all know about all these things, but do about of NASA as well as of European space agencies also. There is a lot of news about these space missions, particularly to some asteroids. So read about them, just know about the names, know about what is the aim of the mission and when it will be completed and the agency doing it. You just have to know 5 things to eliminate an answer, because usually the question comes, so and so mission is related to what? A, B, C, D. So this is very simple if you even know the basics of the space missions. You don't have to go into the details, you don't have to go into specific topics, you just have to remember the name and relate it to something. That if this names come, I have to get this thing in mind. That is the only aim or objective that you need to do. With respect to space missions, one important area this time is with respect to GSLV and PSLV. Because of the ISRO's achievement, I think this is one area that UPSC might ask questions about the INSAT satellites, about the communication satellites, about the nano satellites. So just read what are nano satellites, whether they are less than 10 kilos or greater than 10 kilos, or so on and so forth. These basic details, right? INSAT 3DR, whether it's a meteorological satellite or not. And if it's a meteorological satellite, our basics must be so strong that we should understand that if it's a meteorological satellite, then obviously it is going to be in geostationary or GTO orbit. So we should try to relate the things. Don't mug up these things. A communication satellite is put up at a height of, be it at 36,000 kilometers at geostationary orbit. So you know the other thing related to it. So just know the type of the satellite and you already have the other information that is required to eliminate the option. Another important thing is with respect to government missions, be it of the nanotechnology mission, be it the Inspire Awards program, be it the Divinayan, or so on and so forth. There are many things that the government has done, particularly so as to have science and technology boost as well as innovation to solve our problems. And I think this is one area where they have a tendency to ask these kinds of questions. So government missions is one of the other sources that you must read. Take from any current affairs source that you have and try to read about that. Nobel Prizes is another area. They don't ask questions directly, but they do have a tendency to asking questions indirectly. So read about the Nobel Prizes and indirectly and just read about the basics of Nobel Prizes. You don't have to remember the name of the person who got the Nobel Prize. Just know about why he got, what is the related technology, and what are its applications. These are the only 3 things, and this can be very easily done with respect to even doing the Wikipedia of the Nobel Prizes. I don't even want you to go into the official website of Nobel Prizes and then try to read about what was the discovery. Nothing doing. This is not the thing that you should do. You should just know about the basic headings. Okay, this is the heading. I have to do the Wikipedia and read about the basics of that thing. With respect to diseases, this is one important area that UPSC has a tendency to ask the questions. And I think be it yaws, be it polio, be it neonatal tetanus, be it Zika virus, be it Ebola, all these things are very important for this year's examination. These are and have been in news in the last 1.5 years. And I think this should be prepared because this is one area where you know certainly that questions will come. Be it Mission Indradhanush, what are the 7 things in Mission Indradhanush, and just compare it to our universal immunization program. Because they don't directly ask all the time questions about Mission Indradhanush. What they will do is they will compare it with the universal immunization program and ask you whether a rotavirus is included in Indradhanush or not. So if you have prepared these 7 vaccines using mnemonics or any other technique that you have for Indradhanush, you can easily eliminate the options. So I think this is one important thing that you should do. Now, with respect to the last topic that I'm going to deal with is economy, because I think a substantial portion is covered in economy. There are many good videos available, but I think the time has gone where we can see those videos because they are of 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and they have very specific topics. So the cost and the output of those videos is not going to be very much. So at this moment, the best option is try to do 3 to 5 papers which are economy specific. Have a content page from that topic. So if in all the tests you see a question with respect to balance of payment, or you see a question with respect to government deficits, you already know that questions are going to come up from these topics. So why don't just you prepare those topics isolated in an isolated form? Do it. We have to maximize our score. We don't have to show off our knowledge or a depth of understanding to the people. Just have a page. Try to know about the components of balance of payment. What is current account? What is capital account? What is current account deficit? Invisibles, visibles. What is capital account? How it is? How the forex reserve is changed with respect to capital, and you are done. Even if by this little preparation of 10 minutes you are able to solve one question or able to eliminate 2 or 3 options, I think your job is done. That is the only thing that is required in prelims examination. So these are the few things. Now with respect to current affairs and economy, because if you have read any book, I think you should revise. But it is not the time to revise the whole Ramesh Singh or any other books that you follow for economy. So you should have much more limited and a restricted approach. Read about banks, because they have been in news. Read about payment banks, about small finance banks. How are they different? Read about the Monetary Policy Committee. Read about the new Index of Industrial Production. This new CPI, the new WPI, their base years, who is the agency who is responsible for bringing out all these numbers, what is the different weightage? And I know that they have asked many questions on who releases CPI. So I think if they go a step forward, or if they try to check your depth, the next important thing is the weightage. So these are the 2-3 things that you should definitely study with respect to things. Try to read about repo, reverse repo, and their linkage. It's all about understanding. You don't have to remember, right? So read about what is marginal standing facility, how it is different from liquidity adjustment facility, how all these are different from bank rate. Is bank rate used for long-term lending or short-term lending? Are SLRs used in repo or reverse repo? Do all the banks have to maintain CRR? Do payments banks or small finance bank have to maintain CRR or SLR? So these are the few things that I think you must do it, and do it intelligently. Don't start doing topic wise, because you cannot complete the topics. And don't start making notes from question papers, because this is not the time. Somebody asked, and I think this is very important to answer. Don't start making. What I want you to do is I want you to attempt maximum questions, not start making notes from those questions. That's not possible right now. In 70th date, there is nothing to be done. And don't read tests who have solutions like 30 pages solution. That's not possible. And then they can say that most of the questions were coming from their test series. But if you can give 4,000 questions to any aspirant, and you give them solutions of 5,000 pages, definitely something is bound to come from that thing. So it is not possible for you to read 36-page solutions. So try to read those tests or solve those tests whose solutions are very crisp, they are concise. In 10 to 12 pages, they have summarized the whole the things, and you get the basic idea of things, basic idea of important issues. I think this should be the broad strategy that you must follow for this next 17 days. And I would repeat that the most important thing that can make or break your chance on the 18th of this month is you yourself. If you do not have the fear of this examination, I think you can prepare and even crack this examination even tomorrow. If tomorrow you are asked to sit in this examination, and if you have that self confidence that no matter how hard it is, no matter how hard it gets, I am going to crack this prelims examination, just and you can do it. And I think this is all about confidence on that 18th, because I have seen many people and my fellow aspirants who are very good, who have good knowledge, but they get bogged down by pressure of the examination, the fear of failure. I think fear of failure is the only thing that is the biggest obstacle in this examination, particularly in the prelims examination. So I think just let go of your fears, give as many tests as possible, and you will thank me on the 18th when you will see that indirectly or directly many of the questions comes from those tests only. And I congratulate all the successful candidates who have been selected in last year's examination. And my best wishes to all the fellow aspirants as well as future candidates. And I think this is a very good journey. And if you have started this thing, you should take it to the logical conclusion. And have a nice day. Thank you for listening.